Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop today. A treat especial on account of a young lady, should I say person, what come by chance on Hitachi Magic Back Scratcher video. Asked me to do a Instapotty. Instapotty says, whatever happened to the Mr. Bean speed walking routine to click one off early when the SWAT team arrives? Mosquitoes, skimitos, as my daughter says. It's just God testing in our faith. As a Canadian, we are going to have a look at the Instapot, not Instapotty. Imagine my chagrin. Big Dick! Whoever the fuck you are. Got a bit of a tough box situation here. I've said too much about your wife already. Time!
If you're wondering why I sound so funny,
it's a con me using the point and shoot camera. I mislaid the proper camera. I think it's still on a Forkama lift somewhere, some godforsaken hellhole. This thing is a pressure cooker, not a pressure washer. Espèce de dummy. What? Oh, what horrors lie within here. Well, once you're past the Adam's apple, you might as well give her a try anyway. We're just gonna have at her real quick here. This kind of, craptacular stainless steel, highly magnetic, so not particularly corrosion resistant. And of course, all along where it's been formed, it's even more magnetic. So what we have here is a 120 volt, 60 hertz, 1000 watt AC only, working pressure 80 kPa. What that is in actual units, who the fuck knows? Probably about 5-10 psi. Do not immerse in water. CL Canadian and US UL rather listed. 11300 Earl Grey Drive, Suite 383, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. These guys have these made in China for the domestic market, resell them obviously, so this is very likely either a mailboxes, etc. suite, or maybe a little tiny distribution type center thing. Not much to her here. We have a all stainless, that's a better grade of stainless in there. Quite a bit better grade of stainless on the pot, so that's nice to see. And also stainless rack here. That's a silicone Kearney gasket, so that's good at high temperature. There's a little locking mechanism here, a blow-off valve, and the unseat valve. So this, when you pressurize it, it locks the lid in place so you can't get it off. Try and kill yourself. Or getting right into the meat of her here. Speaking of meat, now I'm not much of one for pressure cooked meats and so forth. Third world shitholes, of course, it's a necessity because I got the meat hanging there for days and days with the flies buzzing all over the place. You know, nicely aged mutton, nothing like that. But the wife does the pressure canning. I don't think this is big enough for the pressure canning, but apparently you can cook some stuff in here. You lay it in here and it makes the meat real well. Here's the thing with the pressure washer. They fucking pressure washer on the brain. Like my kingdom for a Jeezeless screwdriver. There we go. There we go. So I was working in Surabaya, Indonesia. It's a nice little shithole by the sea, and we were in the nicest steakhouse in the land. I think it was called the Lido, something like that. Anyway, decent steak. Of course, the contract scumbag I was with, representing the company, took me out on his account to the steakhouse as a preamble to going to the dance club and picking up some trampies. Not my idea of fun, but you know, who am I to judge? We're here but once and a long time dead. So, best steakhouse in the land. They serve my steak, bang down the plate, out from the table, of course, come the cockroaches. Without batting an eye, the agent fucking swipes the cockroaches away, tucks right into his steak. The steak didn't taste that good after that. I'm sure it was quite good. But here's the trick with the pressure washer, or the fucking pressure washer. I'm just gonna call it a pressure washer for now. Fuck it. Is it cooks the meat hot and hard, and because there's pressure there, water boils at a higher temperature. So normally you have meat, it's whatever, 90% fluid, or rather it's 90% water. When you heat it up to a certain temperature, it doesn't actually go above that temperature because the water's got to boil off. So it's only ever going to get to the boiling point of water until some of that starts evaporating off. But when you pressurize it, when you put more pressure on it, you can bring the temperature up quicker, cooks the meat quicker through and through. You know, you can't really eat a steak that's cooked through and through because it's going to be boot leather, you get English style. But if you put it in a pressure chamber and get it up to temperature, you can brown it all the way through, cook off all those little bug eggs and all those little bibit and so forth, what are trying to kill you, and the meat is still reasonably, what do you call that? Pliant, compliant, pliable, masticatable, masturbatable, non-chewy. Tender is the word I'm looking for. I'm just going to take this little pigtail out. A little Molex connector type deal. If she comes out. A lot of times all these cheap Chinesium components are one-time use. Remove at your peril. There you go. That wasn't teabag. Now in here, we got all kinds of grounding. We got the hot and the neutral, and then some grounding, so that's good. And then I just want to get in to the back side of this brain box here, because this is the meat of the operation. This is the torquey unit, and this is what does the steering over here. I'm told there's lots of fantastical recipes for this thing online. I'm reticent to try because I like my meat browned. There's a nice Maynard reaction, what makes meat nicely carcinogenic and tasty. I mean, if you're gonna go, you might as well go with a smile on your face, you know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm eating too many vegetarian hot dogs. At least not since college. Everybody's got to try something new once. Trying to get in here without totally fuckulating it might not be possible. Ha! You slow us down, but you can't fuck us over. There she, holy fuck. That's one whole big display. In fucking tense. So that, you know what else is intense? Campers. The module, big huge display module, might be OLED, might be backplane liquid crystal display. Interestingly though, this is nice. Through hole components. Normally a lot of times on these they'll have a cheapo zebra stripe, which is just rubber with conductive little foamy conductive bits what hit on there, and then if you ever tweak the thing, she don't like being massaged by a 200-pound gorilla. So in this case we're okay. And then all the surface mount components are underneath this mezzanine. So this would be two process, right? They would have to, or maybe not, pick and place all these guys, all these ICs, then put this in through hole. Yeah, and then they could reflow that all in one go. One thing I do not like, it's not mechanically connected to the, there's no screws. There's really no tabs of any sort, so it would be susceptible to getting thrown around. Of course, you're not going to keep this Instapot on your counter all the time because you only got so much counter space. So you're going to swap it out. You put this in a closet, kind of knock it around. So you got to be careful of that. You got to be cognizant that this board is not, it's not industrial. It's not like the kind of board what's in your blender or what's in your, you know, a proper blender, or what's in your Mixmaster, what do they call that, KitchenAids. Now that brain box, holy fuck, the slowest focus in the West. That brain box now talks to this guy, turns on the relay. So we got power coming in to the heating element, which is just a resistive heating element inside the bottom, which is inside the bottom of this aluminum, powder coated aluminum part. And then they've gone and put some hammer tone on there just to keep it from getting scratched up. That's a nice feature. And see, these are the thermostatic contacts. So there's a bimetallic spring, so differential. They heat up and they contract at a different rate, which causes them to bend over. The two different metals, dissimilar metals, bend over and release the contacts so that it only goes to a certain temperature. Now there is no temperature feedback. There does not appear to be any temperature oh no, I'm mistaken here. No, here's a switch. Here's a switch to make sure that the lid is closed, so it will not fire if the lid isn't closed. But I do not see any temperature control. So the temperature control has to be, oh no, here we go. Here's the temperature control in here. That's the Cockford dolly, yeah. There's the temperature control. Aha, it's a whole little pile there, in there. And yeah, 5 volts TBOT, temperature bot. So that's what would be controlling how hot the thing is. And essentially that feeds back into the brain box, tells the brain box when to chooch and when not to chooch. Power comes in, goes through here, goes through the relay turns off and on. All this stuff in here is just for noise suppression, which, considering this is a resistive element, is really, really good. We even have a fuse here, and they've gone through and put a little bit, you have a look at that, a little bit of fabric, some sort of fiberglass fabric, so that if you ever blow the fuse, it doesn't leave a shit stain and blow up everywhere. So that's, wow, that's surprisingly uncrusty for a consumer electronic. Especially, we've had a number of kitchen gadgets apart, and they've been absolutely horrific. The board itself is very nicely laid out. We have high voltage routed slots. We have additional solder on some traces in order to increase the current carrying capabilities. And here's the MOSFET, what drives the coil for the relay, and then a little speaker there. You know what? Surprisingly, this is uncrusty. This is quite well thought out. I never would have thunk it. Now, one thing that is alarming though is they're using this tab to cover up some, oh okay, they're just covering up these little spot welds here. So that's why it looks like there's a hole in there. There's no hole in there. They're just covering up the spot welds. Okay, well, we're gonna have to get this back together and set her on the counter upstairs, see what baby doll can do with her. So thanks for watching. Watch this space. We'll do we'll do cooking with Uncle Bumblefuck. That'll be a good one. Keep your dick in a vice.